Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Welcome to NIEVS Home School. I am Sabrina Haq, Assistant Teacher of Science of National Ideal English Version School, Deshi. Today I am going to take a science class for class 8 student on the based on chapter 4. The name of the chapter is Reproduction in Plant, and this is the second class of annual term examination, and this is also the second part of that chapter. So student, let's start the class. In my last class I have discussed about the reproductive organ and sexual and asexual organ. Today we will go to discuss about the pollination. Student, pollination is also known as pollen transfer. Pollination is the precondition of fruit and seed production. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigmas. Pollination is of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now we will discuss about self and cross-pollination. Self-pollination. Self-pollination is the transfer of pollens from anther to stigmas in the same flower or between flowers on the same plant. Examples: mustard, pumpkin, dhutura, etc. And cross-pollination happened in plants shimul and papaya and other plants also. The cross-pollination is the transfer of pollens from one plant to the stigmas on another plant of the same species. Look students, that is the picture of pollination. If pollination happened in the same plant's flower, in between the same plant's flower, that is called self-pollination. But if it is happened with different two plants but in same species, that is called cross-pollination. Now we will learn about the agents for pollination. In most cases, the transfer of pollen occurs through an agent. The carrier that carries pollen up to stigmas is known as agent for pollination. Wind, water, insects, birds, snails as well as man also act as agents of pollination to the help of pollinating media. Some structural modifications are seen in flower. These modifications are known as adaptation. The adaptations are different for various pollinating media. The adaptations are as follows. Adaptation for insect pollinating flower. Flowers large, brightly colored and scented petals with nectars. Pollen grains and stigmas are sticky. Example: China rose, mustard, etc. And we see bees and butterfly help them to pollinate in mustard and China rose. Now we are going to the second adaptation, adaptation of wind pollinated flowers. These flowers do not have scented petals, nectars or colored petals. They are small. Stigmas are sticky, branches and sometimes feathery, and there are on long stalks. For example, paddy. Our third adaptation is adaptation of water pollinated flowers. Flowers are small, lightweight and can float in water. These flowers do not have scent. Female flowers have long stalks, whereas male flowers are with short stalks. Mature male flowers detach from the stalks and float on water. Now we go to fourth adaptation of animal pollination flower. These flowers are moderate large. If small, they arrange in inflorescence. Brightly colored, may have scent or not. Example: Kodam, Shimul, Aram, etc. Now we will go about the fertilization and fruit formation. Formation of gamete is the precondition of fertilization. The sexual union of motile and small male gametes with the comparatively bigger non-motile female gamete is known as fertilization. Pollen grains are transferred to the stigmas by pollination. The stigmas produce a sticky fluid which nourishes the pollen grains and stimulates each other to burst open and develop a long hollow tuber outgrowth is known as pollen tube. Look students, this is the figure, this is the pollen and this is the stigma. Then in this between the tube, that is pollen tube, and this is ovule and this part is called ovary, and here the male gamete is entering in the ovary. Now go to our second picture. This is the bigger part. It is called ovary and this is ovule. This is ovule and nucleus. Here is the part of nucleus tissue. This is the secondary nucleus in the middle, and this is the egg, and this is hilum, and this is the structure of ovule and fertilization. This tube pushes its way between cells of the style and grows towards the ovule and finally reaches the embryo sac. By this time, two male gametes are formed inside the pollen tube. The apex of the pollen tube ruptures, releasing the male gametes. Ovule contains embryo sac. Female gamete or ovum develops inside embryo sac. One of the two male gametes discharges from the pollen tube, unites and fertilizes the egg, which egg is placed in the ovary. Now, the formation of fruits. The process of growing fruits starts by transformation of ovaries of gynoecium of flower. The transformation occurs in the ovary after pollination and fertilization. The ovules transform into seeds. After fertilization, the ovary alone or in combination with other floral parts turn into fruits. When the fruits are developed from different floral parts are other than the ovary, they are called false fruit. Example, apple. Students, I bring an apple for you. This is called false fruit, and I bring another fruit. This is true fruit and it is simple and fleshy fruits. Dear students, apple is called false fruit because it is not only ovary, it is the ovary along with or combination with other floral parts. That means it's turned fruit with other floral parts. That's why it is a false fruit. All fruits are divided into three main classes on the basis of their origin and nature. They are simple fruit, first one, second one is aggregated fruit, and third one is multiple fruit. When the ovary of the single carpel or more than one united carpels of a flower develop into a fruit, it is known as simple fruit. Example, mango. Depending on the nature of pericarps, simple fruits are again divided into two groups. One is dry fruits, another is fleshy fruits. Fruits having thin and dehiscent pericarps when they are ripe are known as dry fruits. Example, bean, lady's finger, etc. Now we are going to the fleshy fruits. Fruits having thick and succulent pericarps are known as fleshy fruits. Example, mango, banana, etc. Now we will go to the aggregated fruit. When the fruit develops from the merger of several ovaries with many free carpels of flowers is known as aggregated fruit. A cluster of fruitlets is produced at a time and placed on a single stalk. Example, custard apple, champa. Dear students, here is the picture of aggregated fruits. This is champa and this is grapes. Now we will go to the next point. This is multiple fruit. When all the flowers of an inflorescence together form a fruit is known as multiple fruit. Example, pineapple and jackfruit. Now we will go to the last part, that means structure of seed and its germination. Structure of seed. For this we have to do an experiment. This experiment, student, you can do at home by yourself. I will say how you can do. We have to place a filter paper inside a bowl and soak it with water and then put 8 to 10 weight gram seed on it and kept it covered for 3 to 4 days. They will germinate. There is a small pore called mycopyle near pointed part. See students, this is the germinating germ seed picture. First one, this is seed coat, and here hilum, and here mycopyle, and here this part is called radicle. This part is called radicle. Then this is plumule, and this two part is called cotyledons. This two part is called cotyledons. There is a small pore called mycopyle and near pointed part of the seed. Radicals come out through it. Seed at this stage may be pulled off by slight pressing of the fingertips. Sorry students, seeds at this stage may peeled off by slight pressing of the fingertips. Failed, the seed is yellow in color. This tiny embryo enclosed within the seed develops to form a new plant. By the process of germination, plant embryo in seeds have structure called cotyledons. A cotyledon is the central part of a seed embryo, to which the plumule, the immature shoot, and the radicle, the immature root, are attached. The outermost layer of the seed coat is hard and thick. It is known as testa, that means this part, and the innermost thin layer of the seed coat is known as tegmen. Now we will learn about the germination. The development of seedling from a seed is called germination. In order to germinate, seed requires water, warmth and air. The germination in which the epicotyle grows up rapidly. As a result, the plumule comes out of the soil, leaving the cotyledons underground, is known as hypogeal germination. This type of germination takes place in gram, paddy, etc. Sometimes plumule with cotyledons come out of the soil. It is called epigeal germination. Tamarind, pumpkin, etc. show this type of germination. Students, look, this is the hypogeal germination picture. See, here the cotyledons is beneath of the soil, and this is the epigeal germination. Look, this is the cotyledon, this is the upside of the soil. Students, we have finished the chapter and you have to do the homework. This is your homework 2. The homework is 5 MCQ you have to make from this part of the chapter, and you have to submit on Sunday. Dear students, hope you have understand our today's topic. If you feel any problem on the board, I gave my contact number. You can contact with me. You can search me by my name on the messenger, and do the homework, submit the homework regularly, because you will get mark on the based on your homework. Stay safe, stay home, abide by your parents. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.